Looks like we're right at 5. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 City Commission meeting. The first part of our meeting is to move into executive session and to consider a motion to recess into executive session.
I move to approve a motion to recess in executive session for approximately 30 minutes to discuss privileged legal communications from the city's attorneys regarding interpretation of laws affecting city operations pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2. The justification for this executive session is to keep attorney-client privilege matters confidential at this time. The City Commission will resume its regular meeting in the City Commission room at 5:31 p.m. after the executive session is concluded.
Second.
Okay, motion by Finkeldice, second by Littlejohn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Bless you. All right. We're going to gavel back into the meeting from our executive session, and there's nothing to report from our executive session, and I'm going to go ahead and wait to start the regular agenda at 5:45. Ready? I'm going to gavel back in. All right, welcome everybody back to the Tuesday, May 13, 2025 Lawrence City Commission meeting. I'm going to ask our city clerk to read us the rules of the meeting before we start with the first agenda item.
Good evening, everyone. If you would please silence your cell phones to minimize distractions during the meeting. The primary format for accessing or participating in this meeting is in person at City Hall. Virtual access to view or participate in the meeting cannot be guaranteed. The chat function will not be monitored. If you have any trouble, the meeting can be viewed on the city's YouTube channel and cable channel 25. When the mayor calls for public comment, please approach the podium to indicate you wish to speak. Virtual participants should use the raise hand function. When prompted, select Join as Panelist. There will be a brief delay as your role changes. Once your name is called, please unmute and turn on your camera to provide your comments. All comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and zip code before speaking. The city reserves the right to turn videos off or mute participants. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Sherry. All right, we're going to move on to item B on the agenda, which is to approve the agenda. The City Commission reserves the right to amend, supplement, or reorder the agenda during the meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as is?
Move to approve the agenda?
Second.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda by Finkeldye, seconded by Littlejohn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Go ahead and start with our first item on the agenda for the recognitions and proclamations. And the first one is to proclaim the month of May 2025 as NF Awareness Month and May 17th, 2025 as World NF Awareness Month. And I think we have somebody here, Tandy Walters, to speak to this proclamation.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk about neurofibromatosis and Neurofibromatosis Awareness Month and the 17th as Neurofibromatosis Day. For those of you who do not know, NF is a condition that affects 1 in every 2,000 births. It's a genetic condition that causes tumors to grow along nerves in the body, and it can also cause symptoms throughout the body in nearly every system throughout the body. There is no cure now, and currently we are working for effective treatments and, of course, raising awareness. And I want to thank the mayor, city commissioners, and the Lawrence community for continually supporting our efforts to raise awareness about neurofibromatosis. This is the 3rd year we have requested a proclamation and the 3rd year that we have shared our story with friendly and familiar faces. And we are sincerely grateful for that opportunity. To some, this may seem ceremonial, but to us, it is critically important because we know that raising awareness works. The Children's Tumor Foundation is 47 years old, and for decades, patients have faced a stark reality. Despite the condition's prevalence and impact, 1 in every 2,000 births, there were no FDA-approved treatments until 2020. Today, that landscape has changed thanks to relentless advocacy, strategic partnerships, and breakthrough research catalyzed and funded by the Children's Tumor Foundation. Raising awareness over the years has attracted more researchers, more clinicians, and more pharmaceutical companies to the NF space. And just this year, a second drug was approved by the FDA, the first one ever for adult patients. And there are other promising treatments in the pipeline, including 68 clinical trials in progress, triple the number from a decade ago, 20-plus pharmaceutical and biotech companies now engaged in NF research, and 800-plus research projects funded throughout CTF's history. Awareness has made this landscape more promising, but awareness has also made the daily lives of people living with NF better and more hopeful. Patients and caregivers still face a condition that can affect nearly every system of the body, and since no 2 cases are the same, the occurrence and the severity of symptoms is unpredictable. Families watch and wait, living from one specialist appointment to the next, hoping for the best and fearing the worst. But in my son Leo's 7 years of life, information about NF has grown immensely. Our community is more connected. Families talk about it. And increasingly, over these 7 years, when I explain his condition to new educators or medical providers who aren't in the NF field, they nod because they are already familiar with this condition. This awareness matters. Each news story, each proclamation, each community connection, each breakthrough builds upon the last, accelerating our goal for finding effective treatments and one day a cure. So thank you again for helping build this awareness, sustain this momentum, and getting closer to our finish line.
Well, thank you for letting us share this outreach, and hopefully this has been effective for you in the past, and I'm happy to do this for the third time, I guess, so thank you. Whereas the neurofibromatosis, or NF, affects 1 in 2,000 people, regardless of race, ethnicity, or gender, this translates to 150,000 Americans, including citizens of the city of Lawrence, and 4 million people worldwide living with NF. And whereas NF causes tumors to grow on nerves throughout the body and can also affect nearly every system of the body, with issues such as blindness, deafness, bone abnormalities, disfigurement, learning disabilities, disabling pain, and cancer. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation gives critical support to patients and families by providing comprehensive information and improving access to quality, coordinated health care through a global network of NF clinics. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation is committed to delivering effective treatments to patients faster by emphasizing patient engagement, investing in groundbreaking research, and driving collaborative science by working directly with biotech, pharma clinicians, and researchers. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation will observe May 2025 as NF Awareness Month and May 17, 2025 as World NF Awareness Day, because greater awareness of NF is essential to advancing early diagnosis, improving treatment options, and support for research. Now, therefore, I, Mike Dever, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Neurofibromatosis, or NF, Awareness Month, and Saturday, May 17, 2025 as Neurofibromatosis NF Awareness Day, and encourage members of our community to learn more about NF by visiting www.ctf.org. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And our next proclamation is to proclaim the month of May 2025 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I don't believe we have anyone here to accept the proclamation, so I'll go ahead and read it tonight. Whereas in observance of Asian American and Pacific Islander, or AAPI, Heritage Month, the City of Lawrence recognizes the month of May in commemoration of the migration of the first immigrants from Japan to the United States on May 7, 1843, and whereas individuals of AAPI heritage are recognized for their significant contributions to our nation's history and culture, including but not limited to the business sector, literature, arts, politics, military, law enforcement, science, and technology. And whereas many of these contributions might have gone unseen or unrecognized were it not for the resilience and extraordinary efforts of AAPI individuals navigating systems shaped by historical and ongoing racial discrimination. And whereas the City of Lawrence looks forward to building and strengthening relationships with various organizations and individuals of AAPI heritage, and whereas every person of AAPI heritage and descent is to be honored and celebrated by and with the community and respected as a part of the history and culture of the City of Lawrence. Now, therefore, I, Mike Dever, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and we encourage all in our community to take this opportunity to reflect on the past and present achievements of all individuals of Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage as demonstrated. Thank you. Okay, and last but not least, we have one related to law enforcement, and I know we have groups here, but this is to proclaim May 11th through 17th, 2025 as Police Week, and Thursday, May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day. And I'd like the Chief to speak.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We want to thank you all for taking some time out to recognize your law enforcement officers here in the City of Lawrence. I have a few of the 150 so that we have here with us. Deputy Chief Anthony Brixius, Corporal Skylar Richardson, Lieutenant Mark Unruh, and Detective M.T. Brown here to say thank you as well in person. Tomorrow morning at 7:30? 6:30, okay. 6:30, if you want to come by the police station, the deputy chiefs and I will be cooking breakfast for all the officers. And then tomorrow night at 4:30? 4:30, we'll be serving smash burgers and dinner for the officers as well. So if you're free at one of those times, come on by, and we'll be happy to buy you breakfast or dinner. So
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Well, thanks for showing up tonight. This is an important time for us to recognize all the work you do for us and how you keep us safe, and our community is better off for having you, and we appreciate you being here. And I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation. Whereas established in 1962 by President John F. Kennedy and a joint resolution in Congress designating May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15 falls as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the law enforcement agencies of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, and the Douglas County, Kansas, play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of citizens throughout the city and the county. And whereas it's important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agencies, and that members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas Lawrence Police Department lost 3 officers in the line of duty, Officer Ellen Moore, EOW 1901, Officer Wilson Pringo, EOW 1909, and Officer Melvin Howe, EOW 1931. And whereas each May during National Police Week, the nation pauses to recognize and honor the men and the women of our law enforcement agencies who increasingly provide a high level of accountable, essential, and professional public service. Now, therefore, I, Mike Dever, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, do hereby proclaim May 11, 2025 as Police Week, and Thursday, May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and call upon all citizens of the City of Lawrence and Douglas County to join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and, in doing so, have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and the security of all of our citizens. Thank you. That's everybody out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to item D on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. And items on the consent agenda are considered under one motion and approved by one motion. Members of the governing body may remove items for separate discussion if desired. Members of the public may remove items identified as quasi-judicial for separate discussion if desired. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes per comment on these items. I've been told by members of the commission that we'd like item D, 6, B, and C pulled. Are there anything else that we'd like removed? Okay. Is there anything else from the consent agenda that's quasi-judicial? I don't think so. That would be, yes, anybody want this item, any of the 2 quasi-judicial items, D9, A, and B, removed for separate discussion? Okay, seeing none. We're going to go ahead and approve the consent agenda minus items D6B and D6C.
Move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of D6B and D6C.
Second.
Motion by Finkeldye, seconded by Sellers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and discuss item D6B.
Yeah, I just pulled that for voting purposes, and that's all.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other discussion on this item? I'm going to wait for the noise to stop, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any public comment on item D6B?
You're on the next one.
Can you read the item?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is the Q39 barbecue restaurant project. Consider adopting on second and final reading ordinance number 10137, authorizing the establishment of RKM KU Community Improvement District for the Q39 barbecue restaurant project at 639 New Hampshire.
Thank you. Marcy Francisco, 1101 Ohio. I will comment that I believe it makes the most sense to give tax incentives to businesses that are providing for employment that's not It's bringing dollars to the community without necessarily competing with other institutions. So at one point, we really did try to limit that to businesses and manufacturing and not necessarily retail or restaurants.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment in the room on this item? Sherry, anybody online to address this item?
There is.
Okay. All right. Any other comment back from the commission? Is there a motion to approve it? D6B?
I would move to adopt on second and final reading ordinance number 10137.
Second.
Okay, motion by Finkeldye, second by Sellers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Oppose.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. Larson opposed. The next item is D6C, which is considered adopting on second and final reading ordinance number 10139, establishing the TIF redevelopment district, and ordinance number 10140, establishing the KU Gateway Star Bond project district.
I think we pulled it from Marcy to say something.
Go ahead.
It's for public comment, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Again, Marcy Francisco. I did submit a letter. I understand that the commission made a decision about the TIF, and I have no comments about that. But in regards to ordinance 10140 that sets the boundaries for the Star Bond District, I believe that the commission may retain more ability to negotiate the memorandum of understanding if the district has not yet been established. I pointed out four concerns. The first was with regard to development incentives, and it talked about the parties will cooperate to establish the district to include the property identified in Exhibit C, and it states the parties shall cooperate to establish the district in a manner that mitigates any adverse impacts anticipated from the phase-out of state food sales taxes. I think it would make sense to also add wording to establish the district in a manner that mitigates any adverse impacts anticipated from the timing of the reconstruction of the stadium. We recognize that a look back of 12 months will not include that. And again, the best way to mitigate may be to look at the boundaries of that Star Bond district. With regard to the Community Development District, and I understand this memorandum will be adopted at a future time, but I think it makes sense to give you a little heads up. But the district, that district specifically excludes the new hotel, and I'm wondering why we would ask faculty, staff, and students to pay an additional sales tax, but not the out-of-town visitors at the hotel. The immediate benefits for the city talks about allocating the first $14,500,000 to deposit in a special project fund to finance infrastructure improvements in the vicinity of the project, including the Jayhawk Watershed Project. But both in the description of the property tax TIF and Exhibit F, nothing other than the Jayhawk Watershed is listed. And the neighborhoods would certainly appreciate some money for pedestrian and traffic improvements. And the final one is that it says the party shall comply with the requirements of the cooperation agreement with respect to matters relating to planning and zoning. And yet, it further states that the parties agree that the Gateway project, as presently configured, constitutes an expansion of the stadium. And I would suggest to change the wording to say that there will be negotiations with the Community Advisory Committee regarding the expansion of that Memorial Stadium structure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Anybody else in the room want to comment on item D6C? Anybody online, Sherry? Okay. bring back to the commission. We have this item before us regarding the TIF Development District and the Gateway Star Bond Project District orders, and hopefully we can discuss some of those comments that were made this evening. But I think if anyone wants to address some of these questions directly, I'd like to give you a chance.
I think we'll have time to talk about them as we work through the process. I could make, we want to go ahead and do two motions. Looking at, okay. Move to adopt on second and final reading ordinance number 10139, establishing the TIF redevelopment district.
Second?
That motion is by Finkeldei, and it's seconded by Littlejohn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Adopt,
Second item.
adopt on second and final reading ordinance number 10140, establishing the KU Gateway Star Bond District.
Second?
Okay, that motion by Finkeldei and seconded by Littlejohn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Oh, sorry. Motion passes 4-1. Sellers opposing? All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to regular agenda items. And the first item on the regular agenda is consider approving a final development plan for DP 250001 for the redevelopment of a portion of Phase 2, target PCD, with a fast order food use located at 3231 Iowa Street, submitted by Cedar Creek Consulting on behalf of NADG, NNN, SN Kansas, LP property owner of record.
Good evening, Commissioners. Sandy Day, Planning. This item is a final development plan that was originally submitted and approved in 1994 under the 1966 Development Code. The applicant has proposed a revision to the project. The slide that you see on your screen is the way the site is developed today with a retail pad site. This is part of the target PCD. The proposed application that the developer would like to do is for a drive-through coffee use. Because of the change of use, this is considered a significant alteration, and as an approved final development plan in the 2006 Development Code, a public hearing is required. So procedurally, that is why this item is on your agenda the way it is. It maintains the existing cross-access to the north. It maintains the existing front peripheral setback that was established along Iowa Street, but the internal circulation has been changed and revised to accommodate a drive-through restaurant use. The project does comply with the effective Development Code regulations. There is one condition related to the provision of long-term bicycle parking, which is a standard that's required with significant projects. I believe the applicant is here online, but then also this is a public hearing item. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. It's a relatively straightforward project.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy. Questions for Sandy? Okay, does the developer have any comments or would like to speak to this item?
Would that be Andrew Wilson? I see somebody.
Yeah,
Okay.
moved over.
Let's see, I'm trying to get myself, there I am. I'm here, I'm the engineer representing the owner, and I just thought I would like to say I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have. Other than that, I'm happy to hear any feedback you guys might have.
Sure, thank you. Any questions for the developer or / owner of the property? Okay. So I need to open a public hearing at this point in time. Let's go ahead and open this public hearing in this item, which would be Plan DP 25001 for use located at 3231 Iowa Street. Is there any public comment?
Not all
Okay.
at once.
Nobody online?
That's right. No one else.
Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners, should we go ahead and close the public hearing since nobody's here? Okay. Motion, do I need, no, that's okay, we just close it, right? No motion required.
Nope.
All right, so motion before us, is there any discussion or questions? And is there a motion to approve?
Looks like a good plan to me. Appreciate the work.
Pretty straightforward.
So I'd move to approve the final development plan DP 250001 for fast order food use located at 3231 Iowa Street based upon the findings of fact presented in the body of the staff report.
Second.
Okay, that's a motion by Finkeldye, seconded by Sellers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, the next item on our agenda is consider adopting resolution number 7579 and resolution number 7580 and the joint cities county emergency management resolution number 7581 related to the adoption of the Douglas County Emergency Operations Plan, Kansas Homeland Security Region K Hazard Mitigation Plan, and the joint cities county emergency management resolution to strengthen regional coordination and emergency preparedness. Hey there.
It's on.
Hello.
Thank you.
Okay, you're up.
Hey, good evening, Commissioners. I'm Robert Benecki, the Director of Emergency Management for Douglas County, and I appreciate you getting us on your agenda to talk about these very important issues this afternoon. Three things. There's the Emergency Operations Plan for the county, the Regional Mitigation Plan, and also a Joint Cities County Resolution. I have a few slides I'll go through. I know you had all this information in your packet, and hopefully I can answer any questions that you have. And thank you, Chief Hardy, for being here with me. Anything before we get started?
No.
All right, thank you. The Emergency Operations Plan that we have here in Douglas County incorporates all of the cities that live in Douglas County. So Lawrence is definitely part of that, of the plan. We're very engaged with your staff, and your staff is part of the planning process, part of creating and maintaining, updating, revising the plan. So the plan is what you saw here or in your packet is a basic plan. It's an overview of the operations, and then additionally you saw the ESF support function, which each of those ESFs are annexes to the plan, and in those annexes are the more strategic, tactical type things that go on in emergency situations. And those annexes were again developed by all those key people, primary agencies of the emergency support functions to bring about it. The plan needs to be updated every 5 years. The Kansas Division of Emergency Management makes us do that, although we update it anytime there's any changes are necessary throughout the year. So one more thing about the plan is that it complies with standards that KDEM, the Kansas Division of Emergency Management, requires us to write our plan to answer those standards. The slide you see in front of you gives you an example of those 15 emergency support functions and how the plan is developed, and each one of those has an annex in the plan. And so basically, the promulgation of the plan represents your willingness and commitment to work with us and the other special districts and cities to accomplish a plan that can work for us in emergency situations, disaster type situations. And that's the EOP. I guess, would you like me to go through the entire presentation, or do you want to talk about or have questions through each one of these items?
That's up to you. I'm happy to hear what you have. I've gone through the presentation and the information you
Okay.
provided us. I'm sure the other commissioners have too, but we're here to listen to you. So
right,
however
thank
want
you.
to proceed, that's fine.
The next plan that we're presenting to you is the Region K, and it's the Region K is basically the state of Kansas is broken up in regions. We are combined with 9 other counties. This plan is updated every 5 years as well. Has to meet certain standards. The Kansas KDM hires a contractor every 5 years to help us revise this plan. All of those key people that are in those ESF support functions are part of that revision process every 5 years and help us develop and maintain and update that plan. Again, if promulgating the plan is that partnership and commitment for all the jurisdictions to work together. And then the third item would be the Emergency Management Board / Local Planning Committee. The local planning, the LEPC is required by federal law, and Kansas has decided to break up jurisdictions into all 105 counties. So we're required to have an LEPC, and the LEPC is the body that oversees, the easiest way to say it would be like chemical storage. That's a big part of what they do. There are thresholds that have to be met for bad chemicals in big tanks, and when those thresholds are met, they're required to complete a Tier 2 report as a report that comes to us. It goes to the Kansas Division of Health and Environment and also to all the local first responder agencies. The second part, back in the late 90s, Douglas County merged these two with a board and with the LEPC, and so that Emergency Management Board functions as the LEPC. So I'm talking to you about this tonight with this joint resolution mainly because the two plans have to be updated every 5 years. This joint cities county resolution came about to be promulgated here tonight is because Douglas County Code was severely outdated, and we recently, with the help of legal, updated that code. And because we updated the code, we had to make changes to this joint cities resolution, also changes to the bylaws for this committee. So that's why I'm bringing it to you tonight, is to promulgate this resolution, working together. Again, it's not a new board. The board's been around for quite some time, but because we made those changes, we had to update the resolution, and that's why we're bringing it to you tonight. And the City of Lawrence has assigned Kathy Porsche to be a representative on that board. This next slide shows you membership representation, multiple agencies all across the county, city, people that are all part of our plan, part of our board. This kind of gives you an idea of the membership. I believe I sent you in your packet the current membership of the board. So it's a single board. The board will meet as a full board every quarter, and the executive team meets every month. And I'm not going to read this to you, but signing it, promulgating it, talks about your support and cooperation for us all to continue to work together. What we've been doing all along, it just formalizes it. And that's it. The three things that I wanted to bring to you tonight. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Robert. Questions?
I have a quick, just relational question, just for general understanding. So we're speaking in regards to emergency management plan tonight. Sometimes you may hear, some folks may hear about incident command system. Mm-hmm. How do those two relate to each other?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. So the incident command system is part of the National Incident Management System, NIMS, as we call it. ICS are structures that started in the early 70s with the fire service, incident command systems, and it's what the fire department does every time they go to a call. They set up an incident command system where they have a structure on how they're going to attack or mitigate whatever they're in front of. And so they know their roles, and with that structure, and I'll give you an example of, we did this through COVID. We set up a unified command. You may have heard about that. We're doing that right now as we plan for the World Cup, where the structure gives us a hierarchy or an org chart that in those different branches of that structure, we can identify the problems or issues or resource needs specifically. And we have groups of people, committees, if you want to call it that, working on these different things. So it organizes it for us, but it's also a standard language across the country and across the world that people are using. When you hear ICS or you hear NIMS, we know what we're talking about in the first responder world. We can go to another jurisdiction and they're going to know exactly what we're talking about when we say incident command.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions for Richard? Okay, thanks. Public comment? See if anyone has anything to add. Don't see any.
The only comment I'd have, pardon?
Sure, please, if you'd like to step up, you could, or, no, that'd be fine.
It's very simple.
Sure.
I was just going to say, my first time at one of these, and I'm impressed by the collaboration. So I think it's really cool. I'm on board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody interested in online? Okay. So you talked about that understanding kind of how our relationship is with all the members of the team. How are we in response or relationship to other communities, since every county is aspiring to do all this? How are we relative to the other counties around us? Are we leaders? Do we kind of experiment with things ahead of others? Are we
That's a great question.
kind of teaching others, or are we learning from others? You tell me. I'm kind of curious.
So I'll tell you that we're leading, and we've been told that people seek us out for our plan so they can use it as a model. They've asked for our unified command structures when we've set up these structures to tackle these events. Everybody has to have a plan. Every county has to have a plan. How they come about it is different. We really collaborate and use those resources, these subject matter experts, to help us bring that plan together. Some counties will hire a contractor to create their emergency operations plan, and I just personally don't think that's the way to go. I think we need to all be involved in that planning process to understand it, know it, and learn it. But in comparison to other counties, especially during the planning for these, like the emergency operations plan, we actually taught the state of Kansas some things about the planning process that they shared, again, out throughout the state. So
It's good to hear. Thank you.
yes, sir.
I had a question. So what's the reason why there's so many counties involved with this plan?
For the mitigation plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will tell you that the mitigation plan is, we're lumped in with those other 9 counties.
Okay.
It's not my
I didn't know if we had,
do it.
yeah, if we had a powwow with them or we did something. Yeah.
We have different needs here and different, threats and different resources. However, that's the playbook or the guide that we have to go by. But we do address specific local mitigation plans in our emergency operations plan. So we address those issues more locally in our plan, but we have to play by the rules that KDM
Okay.
gives us.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
Well, maybe I'll ask this question, Robert, just for people watching. Why don't you tell a little bit about what your department does and how many people and what else you do? I mean,
Sure.
a little context for folks.
So emergency management is we're kind of a behind-the-scenes resource management type organization. People know us because we're the ones that, during severe weather, we turn on the sirens. That's what people know of emergency management. But there's so much more to what we do. And One of the easiest ways I talk about emergency management is I think about like an X in quadrants. So everything that we're doing down here in this bottom quadrant is day-to-day, budgetary, office, all those things, personnel, those things. When you come up to this left side of the quadrant, that's where we're working with our community partners, our first responders. We're working on planning to work with them and helping them get the resources they need, applying for grants, trainings, exercises, those kinds of things. For our first responders, our LEPC board's a big part of that, our emergency management board. And the quadrant to the right is where we are in the community. We're doing community outreach. We're doing trainings, some exercises in the community, presentations to make the community more aware, disaster aware, to help them mitigate, help them help themselves. So we're doing this to get to the bad day at the top of the quadrant. That's where we're in operations. That's where we were throughout COVID. We do all this other things to get to here, all that planning, collaboration, coordination. That's the simplest way I like to say it. So.
And that's tornadoes, that's fires.
Any hazard, tornadoes, fires, earthquakes,
Flooding.
bad snowstorms, all of the above.
Yeah. Well, that's my only comment is appreciate the work, and it's one of the areas I didn't, until I got real involved, didn't know much about. And appreciate all the work you do and your team and all the things you do behind the scenes to keep us safe. And certainly I'll support these plans and really the number, thank all the people involved. I mean, it's a big group of people working together on these important topics, and so appreciate everyone involved in it, including our own staff and
Thank you.
interim chief and the rest.
Yeah, thank you very much
Yes,
for your work.
thank you.
Thank you for all the work you do and bringing this forward.
Appreciate it.
Okay, well, then do we have a motion to adopt the resolutions?
Move to adopt resolution number 7579, resolution number 7580, and the joint counties emergency management resolution related to the adoption of the Douglas County Emergency Operations Plan, the Kansas Homeland Security Region K Hazard Mitigation Plan, and the joint cities county emergency management resolution.
Second.
Okay, motion.
That last part.
Yeah, you want to read?
Oh, to strengthen regional coordination and emergency preparedness.
Yes, thank you.
And second.
Hey, that motion is by Finkeldie, seconded by Littlejohn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is consider authorizing the city manager to execute guaranteed maximum price, or GMP, Amendment Number 4 to the construction management agreement with Macau Gordon in the amount of $8,613,602 for construction of the MSO campus Phase 1 project MS1-00023A, and consider authorizing the city manager to execute a construction management agreement with Macau Gordon in the amount of $519,205 for pre-constructed services and at 2.75% of the guaranteed maximum price for construction for the MSO campus Phase 2 project MS1-00023B.
Say that 10 times fast.
What's,
I said say that 10 times fast.
I cannot.
well, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Andy Inns, Engineering Program Manager for the Municipal Services and Operations Department and Project Manager for the MSO Campus Project. I will be presenting an update on the project with the Dakewells Architecture Team and the McCown Gordon Construction Manager Team. We last presented an update to the Commission in April of 2024. Since then, we've had a groundbreaking on a very cold December day and a lot of construction progress that has completely changed the site, and we've got some photos of that throughout the presentation. The short version of this presentation is that the project is on budget and schedule that was approved during the April 24 Commission meeting and the 25 through 29 CIP. But we have a lot of information we're excited to share about the progress of the project. So here's the agenda for tonight's presentation. We'll start with the MSO Campus project overview. background and needs. We'll provide an update on the Phase 2 design and the project schedule. We'll review the key sustainability features of the MSO campus. We'll show some project construction progress, photos, and provide a project cost update. And then finally, we'll review the requested commission action again. With that, I'll pass it off to Alex with Dayquil's.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Reeves. I'm with Dayquil's Architecture. I'm here to give an update on the progress of the MSO campus development, the Municipal Services and Operations Campus, beginning with a brief overview of the project. In 2019, the design team, Dayquil's Architecture with Ortel Architects, was hired to do an existing conditions analysis studying various facilities operated by the City of Lawrence's Municipal Services divisions. We found that many of the facilities operated by the City of Lawrence's municipal services were critically undersized, and many had substantial deferred maintenance issues. For instance, the central maintenance garage is unable to efficiently maintain the largest vehicles in the fleet, such as fire trucks, due to the lack of headroom and undersized bays. Some of the divisions studied, such as the Streets Division, the Central Maintenance Garage, and the Solid Waste Division, are located within the floodway currently, shown on the map on the bottom right. Many of the folks who maintain the city's streets, fleets, and water lines operate out of facilities that are in dire need of replacement. So here's a few of the photos, the bottom right showing the flooding that occurs and the undersizing. After the existing conditions analysis was completed, the City of Lawrence prioritized the 12 divisions shown here. 9 of the divisions were organized into the Municipal Services and Operations Division. The other facilities include the Solid Waste Division, the Central Maintenance Garage, and a fuel island serving the city's fleet. Then in 2019, Dayquil's Architecture and Ortel Architects was contracted to develop a master plan to co-locate and de-silo these various divisions that are currently spread throughout the city onto one site. The site that was selected, the farmland site, is off of 19th and O'Connell on the eastern side of town. During the master planning process, the design team and the City of Lawrence prioritized engaging the surrounding community in the design process to receive their feedback and insights. Multiple community meetings were held beginning in August of 2020 at the start of master planning through to the end of schematic design in 2024. In total, there were 6 community meetings, some of which were virtual because of COVID and some were in person. Let's go back one. This process led to meaningful changes to the master plan, such as moving the buildings further east on the site away from the neighborhoods, reducing site development by prioritizing the facilities that had the highest need, and the addition of acoustic walls and landscaping berms to shield the neighborhood from the campus's activities. The design team greatly enjoyed working with the surrounding neighbors to develop a campus plan that coexists with its surroundings. One of the primary design imperatives that the design team carried through to design and now into construction was to be a great neighbor. We ensured that we carefully studied the impacts of the campus and designed the site to control traffic, sight, sound, and light impacts to the surrounding neighborhood. This slide is a look at the current master plan. However, it took a few iterations to get us here. Following the development of a preliminary master plan in early 2023, it was estimated that the then 4-phased master plan would result in a campus completion in 2029 that would incur significant escalation expense due to COVID. This prompted the design team alongside the City of Lawrence to make an effort to reduce the site area of the campus and accelerate the construction timeline. This resulted in the development of the current master plan, which is only 2 total construction phases. This was achieved by combining phases 2 and 3, the solid waste facility and central maintenance garage facility, into one building, which allows for site efficiency as well as improved efficiency between the 2 divisions. Approximately 40% of the work that central maintenance garage does is on solid waste vehicles, so it makes sense that they're close. Additionally, some of the phase 4 conditioned vehicle storage was incorporated into the phase 1 project. During this study, the City of Lawrence, alongside the design team, developed an RFP seeking a construction manager at risk to join the team, ultimately selecting McCown Ward contractors who are with us today. Their inclusion helped accelerate the construction further, which they will discuss during their construction update. Phase 1 on the western portion of the site, which is closest to the neighborhood, includes the MSO building housing 9 divisions. The Phase 1 site also includes various site structures such as wash bays and the fuel island. Phase 1 is currently in construction. Phase 2 on the eastern portion of the site is the combined solid waste and central maintenance garage facility. This is a current look at the Phase 2 design as it stands. It's in design development, and we just recently wrapped up schematic design on the facility. The blue is the solid waste portion, and the orange is central maintenance garage portion. The facility is a combination of shop spaces and administration spaces. Similar to Phase 1, there are various site structures and activities, such as wash huts and fleet storage. Here is the current campus schedule. Phase 1 is in construction with a move-in on track for our summer 2026 move-in date, late summer 2026. Phase 2 is currently in design with construction documents completed spring of next year. While the Phase 2 portion is in design, the Phase 2 site is being prepared for construction to begin in spring of next year with a move-in targeted for the fall of 2027. We've included a few renderings to take a look at the overall design of the campus. Our site, known as the Farmland site, is a former fertilizer factory that is being remediated as part of the project through native landscaping, water retention, hardscaping, and various other remediation strategies. This is before a look at the site, and here's after. The acoustic wall and the landscaping berms are some of the features on the site that were developed during the community meetings that you can see on the west portion of the site. And in person, that landscaping berm is a lot more impressive than it looks in the pictures. It's about 30 foot tall and completely blocks the site of it. So. Another of our major design imperatives was to develop a durable yet beautiful facility to celebrate public works with straightforward materials that are used in interesting ways, such as a finely detailed concrete envelope that makes up a majority of the facility. Here's another look at the corner of it. Moving interior, another goal we set early in the design was to create ample diffused light to all of the regularly occupied and in-between spaces on the interior of the building. We did this through the use of a rhythm of screened exterior openings, interior glazing that filters light deep into the space, and a large light well that pulls light into the direct heart of the building, where normally you would get only shadow. This image is looking at the light well in the middle of the building. So on the left, there's our fitness room that's upstairs. There's one of our collaboration spaces. Next to the collaboration space, there's a dedicated training room. And this is that light well that is 360 degrees clerestory that gets deep into the building. Another goal we set was to embrace flexible working options, locating multiple types of tasking and meeting options throughout the building. For instance, along the light well, there is a mix of flexible collaboration spaces, like I just mentioned. Our use of durable materials also extends indoors, utilizing easily maintainable and robust materials that will last, such as tile, masonry, and metal panels that do dual purpose as acoustic treatment. We also wanted to create a tangible interior and exterior connection by creating views to thoughtfully develop landscaping that incorporates shaded patios and other exterior spaces. This is kind of looking west. The berm is just out that window that you're peeking through. If you want to see more views of the interior and exterior of the building, the website for the project has panoramas that you can actually scroll around and place yourself within the building to take a look at. Tied to all of the design imperatives we have established is a focus on sustainability, both in the use of the building as well as the well-being of its occupants. We are tracking LEED Gold, which is in line with the city's current sustainability capital projects policy. We did not originally begin the project with a LEED requirement. However, we wanted the MSO campus to serve as an example of sustainably minded development for the city of Lawrence. A few notable strategies we are implementing to meet this goal are an all-electric mechanical system, on-site renewable energy production through the use of solar arrays, enhanced site remediation through native landscaping and hardscaping, low water use native landscaping. We have various well-being goals that are tied to daylighting, connection to exterior spaces, fitness rooms, things like that. And another one of those items is meaningful ongoing neighborhood support through outreach, which we did through the multiple community meetings we went through. This is a snapshot of our LEED scorecard. We are submitting our design credits in the next week for review. Currently, we are tracking 78 points with a few outstanding maybes that we are tracking during construction. This puts us comfortably within LEED Gold. Now we would like to give a construction update. Here's a picture of our groundbreaking. Like Andy had mentioned, it was on a cold December day. Several familiar faces here were there with us. And I'm going to hand it off to Brad from McCown Gordon, the contractors, to present the construction update. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor and Commissioners. Brad Corcoran, McCown Gordon Construction, Senior Project Manager, in charge kind of tip to tail on site, Phase 1 for the construction process. And I wanted to give an update today. I felt like the best way to do that was to share with you some before and after photos from a few vantage points around the site. This is at the kind of the corner of 19th and O'Connell, where the new access road into the site will be. Currently, it looks like this. On the left-hand side, you're going to see the black waterproofing on the site foundation wall. Eventually, there will be 12-foot tall precast panels along that foundation to create that barrier between the neighborhood and our project. In the back beyond there, it was alluded to the dirt barrier, earthen berm. It's actually 17 feet at its tallest, a barrier between the neighborhood and our project site. So very similar in height to the precast wall we'll have. Next, this is up closer to the MSO building, kind of the main feature of the Phase 1 project. This is what it currently looks like as of about a week or two ago. So accomplishments in the first roughly 6 months of construction. Of course, the earthwork it took to get to a building pad. All the foundations, deep and shallow, are 100% complete. We've got our slabs completed, all the under slab rough-in, and the vapor intrusion mitigation system as a part of that under slab. The vapor intrusion mitigation system is going to help control, contain, and evacuate any ammonia vapors that may exist on the property because it is the old farmland fertilizer plant site. It's just going to ensure occupancy health for the long term of that building. So that was a major feature we had to coordinate through with the design team and delegated design partners. In the kind of the foreground, you see we're going vertical now beyond the slab on grades. We've got masonry work started. That is the future locker room area of the project. And you'll see some steel columns that were erected to enable that masonry to happen. We actually have a first load of many of structural steel coming this week. And so once the masonry work is done, we will get started next week, standing structural steel. Upcoming activities at the MSO building itself will be, once the structural steel is done, we will complete the structure with our slab on metal deck concrete pours and then start standing precast. All the exterior walls are precast concrete. They will start arriving in late July or early August. We are looking to the east here at the future Phase 2 site. So this was kind of a before. Most of the concrete rubble you see piled up there was from the old plant that was demolished prior to our construction activities beginning. This was about a little over 2.5 months ago. Probably the best picture just to indicate we uncovered some old foundations on the south end. You can kind of see there that are still intact, but just a pure amount of recycled concrete crushings. Most of that is recycled concrete from the pile or around the site. Some of that is also rock, as we've encountered it, as planned, being recycled and then eventually being used in our utility trenches and under our pavement sections. Also good for the lead scorecard in a lot of ways. This was just a few weeks ago, just showing further progress. It's kind of we've been in a weather pattern for the last couple of weeks of spring. Hopefully coming out of that and able to make some good headway, preparing that for a future Phase 2 pad-ready site. I'm going to hand off to Ashley Pavlou, and he's going to go through the financials and costing.
Good evening. I'm Ashley Pavlou with McCown Gordon, estimating and pre-construction manager. Been involved from the beginning of this project. What you're seeing here is just kind of a recap of a year ago when we went to 2 phases and reestablished the budget at $130 million. Update here is contract values to date. We've currently got a little over $46,600,000 under contract with the first 3 amendments to the guaranteed maximum price. Today's guaranteed maximum price amendment is for $8,613,602. Bringing the total construction cost to the $55,284,911. With the soft costs, that's design fees, fixtures, furnitures, stuff that's what we would consider owner responsibility, brings the total project cost to the $64,800,000, which is the established budget for this project. You can see in there is some construction and owner contingency still in those numbers above. That's just to ensure that as we uncover things throughout the construction progress that we're not overrunning that GMP, and anything that's not used on the construction side is handed back to you. On the right-hand side, these GMP4 the documents were bid out late March, went through and he vetted all of our bidders through the month of April, and now we're here to present that. Simultaneously, while bidding that out, Dake Wells provided us a schematic design for phase 2, and we went ahead and started estimating on that to ensure that we were maintaining the budget for phase 2 as well. And we're happy to report that we are at the $54,800,000 roughly for that as well, with the soft costs in there of $10,600,000, meeting the budget of $65,400,000. Again, you'll see in the contingencies included in those numbers above. You'll notice there the design contingency is included in phase 2, but not in phase 1. That's because as the design progresses, we zero that out, and that becomes incorporated into the project. I wanted to kind of highlight some of the benefits of working through this process. By working through this with the City of Lawrence and Dake Wells, we were able to accelerate this project completion as a reminder, and it saved significant dollars. I believe it was around the $3 million mark off of the total project to get that budget down to $130 million. We are also able to work early on with CFS as well as the City of Lawrence and the designers on how to mitigate these impacted soils that were on this site from the farmland industries. That way they're not impacting the residents and the end users in the future. I believe Brad mentioned a little bit about the vapor mitigation system. That was part of the plans there, as well as utilizing some of the crushed concrete. We were also able to develop early release packages. You can see down below, like the early procurement of the precast. We were able to, with our feedback from some of our precasters, we learned that there were some openings in their casting beds, so we capitalized on that by working with Dake Wells, expediting that package, and realized the savings by procuring that when they had openings and more of a desire to bid better pricing. There was also some development of phase 2 infrastructure and the grading, as well as the demolition during phase 1. Throughout our teamwork here, we developed over $10 million in cost options and incorporated about $6 million of those into the project without affecting the overall scope. Some examples of that, I already mentioned the early procurement of precast, but using the precast for making that decision early on saved us about $650,000. The procurement, $200,000. Utilizing that crushed concrete on site as backfill material in the trenches or underneath the parking pavement saved the city about $200,000. Modifying the roof structure, just going single slope instead of tapered insulation saved about $200,000 on this project. And then the biggest one there is optimize the backup power strategy. Worked with Dake Wells electrical engineers to right-size the backup generators and then get those ordered early on to expedite them as well as eliminate some of the escalation that we're seeing in today's market. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Andy.
Thanks. Okay, so here are the commission action items we're requesting tonight. I'm not going to read all those right now, but I just summarize. GMP number 4 is expected to be the final GMP for the phase 1 project, and it includes the interior finishes, some of the equipment, appliances, audio, video, fences, gates, landscaping, and temporary irrigation for getting that landscaping established. The phase 2 contract includes the pre-construction services for phase 2, as well as removal of those existing foundations that Brad pointed out in the phase 2 area. That's included with phase 2 since it's in that area. So both of these items tonight are within the authorized project budget, and no additional funding is being requested. But, you know, we really appreciate the support that the commission has given this project, and we're excited to see how much has been completed. With that, we would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thanks, Andy. Questions?
Besides the foundations, have we found anything else that surprised us on the site? I mean, I know it's always a worry with that site.
Yeah, I think under that debris pile, it wasn't all concrete. There was actually some dirt there, so we ended up having a little bit less crushed concrete than we thought, but then we kind of made up for it by finding the foundations in the Phase 2 area. Any other big things that you can think of? No other surprises yet. So we're still installing utilities through the Phase 1 and Phase 2 sites, so you know, hope for the best.
Hey, Andy, I remember part of the initial presentation with this, we talked about with some of the native landscaping, it was proposed about phyto remediation. Has there been some further discussion about with that landscaping and what those two would look like for the site?
So on this part of the site, we're really looking at, we've worked with Stantec to look at more native landscaping. I know Jeff Scott is working with to look at that phyto remediation option on the part that's just north of the railroad tracks.
Okay.
There's kind of that triangular piece owned by the city, and that's it's looking at some options for planting poplars or some other things with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you remind me, when it's completely done, approximately how many employees will be stationed out there? I can't quite remember that number. Someone was asking me that the other day. It's a lot, but
I was thinking, I thought I heard 350.
Quarter of our work.
With
Department, but treatment plant.
okay.
Site.
So, yeah, so I guess I don't know. Somewhere between 200 and 350.
Yeah.
I was definitely thinking over 250, yeah, over that amount.
More than 200, less than 400.
Very confident.
There you go.
I just had a quick question. On the site itself, I was just curious about how much of the site is, what percentage would you be able to guesstimate is repurposing the old farmland site, that we're able to use it for this purpose? Because I know that previously it was pretty difficult to get anybody to want to go ahead and undertake this because of the previous occupant. So I was just curious.
So this whole property, the farmland site, I guess that's not Venture Park, was 167 acres. We ended up adding a little bit of property, and I'm going to just go back through. So you can see kind of this notch out here, and then down around the bulk warehouse, it's called. We did add a little bit of property just to keep that on city property in case that lot to the south is sold. And so that bumped it up a little bit, but the actual development for the MSO camp is probably only about 30 or so acres. And then off to the east, it's the containment ponds, the
Right.
regional detention pond, and all that.
Were there any other mitigation factors besides the ammonia treatment below the facilities itself that you guys had to do?
So there are two stormwater systems on the site. One collects the stormwater from the parking lot, from the buildings, and directs it either to the regional detention pond or to the outfall kind of through the trees there. The other stormwater collects, I guess, potentially contaminated water with ammonia or nitrate, and then sends it to the containment ponds. And then we do have a project, I think Jeff will be here in a couple of weeks maybe for some design on the containment ponds, but basically capturing that and then sending it to the sanitary sewer and then treating it at our Kansas River wastewater plant.
Okay. Thank you.
Is this, I can't remember, is this a brownfield site?
Not technically. We looked into that as far as some potential federal grants, and it did not qualify.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I think if that's all for your presentation, we'll go ahead and take public comment, if that's okay. So is there any public comment on this item? Item 3? Anybody on Zoom, Sherry?
Jeffrey Hepler.
Hey y'all, good evening, Jeffrey Hepler, 66044. Really the only thing I have to say is I'm appreciative of the contractor going after gold and the community engagement and then prioritizing the implementation of that feedback from that community engagement by building that wall and that berm. Yeah, seems like a sweet project. And I do appreciate the questions from the commissioners about, Commissioner Sellers, about the native plants and phytoremediation. There's also mycoremediation with mycelium fungi. So it'd be cool to explore this. Good opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's all the comments.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm really appreciative of the efforts and the pre-planning put into this so that we could experience some benefits for having the foresight to go ahead and plan this out. I appreciate you and your team trying to find us savings in this, because this is really an expensive project and it consumes a large amount of our debt. So we want to make sure it goes off without a hitch. I really appreciate the use of all the attempts to get a gold certification from LEED, but I'm really real focused on, effective building and what's best for the employees as well as the environment. So I think the employees need to come first, the environment second. As far as I'm concerned, I'm really excited about the natural light and all the designs that have been talked about. So seeing it, come to fruition is great. But I know we don't have a lot of dollars, so we're sinking a lot into our employees in our own infrastructure, and this is important for us right now. So thanks for helping us keep it on budget, on time.
It'll be great to get our facilities out of the floodway. We've got underground storage tanks there that potentially can leak. Need to get those out of there. And then also our maintenance garages, we've known for a while that they haven't been adequate to service our vehicles, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
And as Mr. Hepler said, I really appreciate your efforts and your willingness for public engagement and to also incorporate a lot of the suggestions into the final design. I think that went a long way, and I've heard nothing but good things about your engagement practices throughout this project. So thank you for that.
Ditto. Anything else? Good.
I would agree with everything everyone else said. I'd also add, there's been some discussion, been talking to some folks in the community about how our CIP works, and this reminded me that, the first discussion of this was in 2017. The first time we maybe spent money on this was in 2019. By the time we issued the bonds, it's going to be 25 and 26 and 27 that we issued the bonds, and how long that process takes. And so, thanks for Dake Wells for being with us the whole time and give us a good project, and Miguel Gordon for coming on and building us a good project, and look forward to it. Phase 1 opening and certainly Phase 2. So appreciate all the work.
Okay. So does anyone have a motion on these items? Do you want to break them down or just want to kind of all together? It looks like they're all related, but if anyone has a problem, we could do them all together. Okay.
I thought it was just one.
It's a long one, but it's one.
Yeah, who wants to read that?
Well, I was going to shorten and say, can we,
Okay.
you tell me, Sherry, if by shortening it, if I'm still in compliance.
Yeah.
I'm going to move that we authorize the city manager to execute the guaranteed maximum price GMP Amendment Number 4 as it relates to the construction of the MSO campus Phase 2 project MS1-00023B.
I don't
Second.
think that's enough.
No, I don't think.
I was just waiting for your okay. Okay.
Because there's an
We
A
missed
and B.
phase
That's
one.
fine. I can read fast, so I'll.
Okay. How'd you read?
Go ahead.
All right, oh, goodness, okay. Sorry, I was looking at that picture and I was like, man, I look cold in that picture. So thank you, Andy, for using that photo and reminding me how cold that day was. But my coat was very pretty. I move that we authorize the city manager to execute guaranteed maximum price GMP Amendment Number 4 to the construction management agreement with McGowan Gordon in the amount of $8,613,602 for the construction of the MSO campus Phase 1 project MS1-00023A, and authorize the city manager to execute a construction management agreement with McCall Gordon in the amount of $519,205 for pre-construction services and 2.75% of the guaranteed maximum price for construction of the MSO campus Phase 2 project MS1-00023B.
Second.
All right, motion by Sellers, second by Littlejohn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone, for coming
Thank you,
and
everyone.
keeping us on track. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our commission items.
I have one tiny commission item.
Yes, ma'am.
So, in February, Transit announced that we had 6 poets laureate that were recognized in our transit system. And so there was an announcement, came in the city manager flash. We do have their names listed on the website. At one point, we did have the poems online. That link has been broken. My request is, I need to do a check. So the direct link doesn't work, but there's a little bit of a workaround. And so I just wanted to make sure there's an opportunity for us to highlight that. So that was all.
To fix the link, is it?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, it's broken it was broken in the email link.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's a way for us to just lift that up, elevate it. So that's all.
Sure.
Because we kind of did a little something, but it kind of came and went. It's another opportunity for, because there is a PDF of it that I downloaded because I was curious and I wanted to read them. But I don't know, just an opportunity for us in some of our day-to-days to highlight our poets laureate, all 6 of them, and just
Absolutely.
and how its connection to free rides, the transit, continue to build that as we move towards another CIP project of our downtown hub that's
That's right.
about to
That's
come
right.
online. So that was all.
Okay.
That only reminds me, I want to congratulate, I'm going to say her name wrong, who's our new transit, Felice
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laverne,
Laverne.
which is wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to her.
She's done great work, and I know we did a national search, but I think she'll do a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
It's nice.
That was it.
Some homegrown stuff here, at least. Working with that organization is great. So how do we have anything else for the city commissioners as far as items go, commission items?
Nope.
And how about items on the calendar?
Hold on. Future agenda items. Is there any way we could possibly move the CHIP presentation on the 3rd to the 10th? The county improvement plan? Move the improvement plan, the CHIP presentation from the 3rd to the 10th?
I'll have to see, I know there were some June dates that he was not going to be available, but we
Okay.
can get it moved to when, because you're
Yeah, I won't
going to be
here.
gone the first meeting in June, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that'll be an issue, but we can make it June, I just don't know if I can't remember if he's available on the
Okay.
10th.
That'd be great. Thank you. It just looks like it's not, there's only one thing right now, and that,
Yeah.
so it shouldn't be too much
Not
issue.
that you wouldn't have a spirited conversation without me. Seeing that I just rolled off, I would,
Yes.
I would like to be
We
here for
want
that presentation.
participation, absolutely. So, thank you. All right, so do I need to public comment on this item? No?
No?
Yes?
No public
Okay, I
comment?
didn't, okay, I just keep, okay, so, on the calendar, I want to make sure everyone's covered on ribbon cuttings and such. Looks like you do in the short term.
I mean, I've been
Yeah,
out
it looks
for
like
a while,
later in the
but I've
month,
been
we
busy.
might have an opening that we need, maybe a few next month, so.
Next
And-
month.
Yeah, we have one on the 29th, but we can have, Sandy will send reminders.
Yeah,
but
that's,
if you can
and
remind-
again, I could fill in probably if, I'll take a look, but I think that's around the end of the month, right? Oh, that's May.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll be gone that day, so no, I won't. Sorry, I'm glad I mentioned that now.
Thanks, Ralph.
Sorry, I was just in my calendar. Okay.
Thanks, Mayor.
Sorry. Sorry.
Set us up on that one.
I did, I was. All right, anyway, so I think if we're done with our calendar items, can we go ahead and end the live broadcast?
Okay.
And anyone who needs to leave the room can do so. And then at this time, we're going to move to item J and the open public comment. And the public is allowed to speak on issues or items not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comments should be limited to issues and items germane to the business of the governing body. The commission will not discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items